Hi and welcome back to my channel. Well, this is my latest radio project, the one I'm working on at the moment. I can only really give videos saying what I've done. I don't have the skill to film and do it at the same time. I'm absolutely stunned by these guys who can do live streams while they're actually working on radios and or who can film them as they make the repairs and so on. I just can't do that. So I hope this will do. It's just a video about what I'm doing so far and how far the project has progressed. I've had this a few days. It was an eBay find, and nobody else bid on it, and I got it for £36. And I arranged to pick it up because the seller was only about 12 miles from where I live. So anyhow, obviously the chassis is out of the case at the moment. It's an Ekco U243, and it has got the a kind of basic sort of magic eye system. There's the dial plate with the medium wave, long wave, and FM stations marked on there, and that there is the band indicator, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. But the cabinet really seems quite nice. I mean, it just really wants a little bit of clean up and a bit of wax polish, and it's fine. It's really nice condition. So I was quite surprised that nobody else bid on this, but I think it's because they're not particularly special radios. They were budget ones. They weren't transformer sets, but sort of thing that perhaps looked rather better than it actually is inside. So that's the radio itself, and I have managed to obtain a circuit of it, circuit diagram, and all the setting up, the alignment procedures and so on is there as well, and a component list. So I started to work my way through it, and first thing I did was cleaning up the wave change switches, and then I replaced the capacitor, which I'll try and indicate. Let's just see if I can find something to point to with. What I like to do first is to look at the output stage and find the capacitor feeding the grid of the final valve, which is this one here, C52. Before I even try these radios, I like to change that. Like nearly all the capacitors on this set are very leaky, and that one was no exception. So that was the first to get the treatment. I replaced that with a new one so that there's no danger of the of leakage making the grid positive, which can switch this valve hard on, which can damage the valve, can damage the output transformer. You really don't want that. So it's a tip to always look for that capacitor feeding the grid, and to make sure it's in good condition and not leaky. So I changed that one. So far I haven't changed the filter caps, the two filter caps here, which are in the can, two in the can together. Surprisingly enough, they seem to be okay at the moment, but if I get the rest of the set working well, then I expect I will actually change those just for safety, because I don't want the set damaged if they go belly up. That one's the magic eye there, which I showed on the front, and there's a rectifier, and then you've just got the main four valves working the rest of the set, some of which are multi-section. So yeah, it's quite a simple set because there's no transformer. All the valves filaments are in series, and there's a dropping resistor. So that's the basic type of circuit, and the chassis is over here. Now the channel indicator I showed on the front panel is simply this. It moves this red marker up and down as you change the switch. So that's rather a strange arrangement, with a wire attached to it around here with a spring to keep the tension on it. So it's a little bit like a dreaded dial cord. But it's yeah, that's how it shows which channel you've selected. I have been working on cleaning it up. I put a little bit more tension in the dial cord, tightened that spring, because it was tending to stick. It does seem to be reasonable now. It's only I don't want to mess about with it too much, because we all know what dial cords are like. But I think it does still slip a bit, so I may have to do a bit more work on that. But at least it does now travel from each end. It's interesting that it uses this rather large bayonet-like fitting and a little pygmy bulb. There we are, like that. 15 watts dial lamp bulb, which is a bit excessive, and the heat from it seems to be drying the paint on the dial plate, so it's a little bit worrying. So I kind of wonder whether that should be substituted for something a bit cooler. Ferrite rod is very small. There it is, sighted down there. And then this is the FM tuner section, and that seems to be worked on a cam. I can't really show it on the video, but behind this wheel there's a cam which seems to move a slug in and out underneath here, which is the way the FM tuning works. And so this is the FM section here. I have actually written on these things. I mean, that can easily be cleaned off with isopropyl if we don't want writing on it, so it's not a permanent thing, but it does make sure that when I'm tweaking them, I don't tweak the FM ones by mistake when I'm trying to do the AM. I think we've all probably done that at some time. If FM works, I'll leave it alone. There's a dropping resistor there, which can be tapped off for different voltages, and that's the smoothing cap can. This is actually not the output transformer. The output transformer is underneath, and this is a choke. So it's a pi filter which actually got a choke rather than just a resistor, which is pretty good. I rather like that arrangement. And the magic eye is very basic. And that capacitor there has been changed, and that's what I'll come on to, I think. These are some of the bits that I've removed, and it is full of these horrible little Hunts capacitors, and nearly all of them are 0.01 microfarads or 10 nanofarads. They're rated at 150 volts. So I would change them for the polymer film ones. Oh. Yeah, polypropylene film capacitors. And of course, the inevitable happens. I've already used quite a few of these on other radios, and of course all the 0.01s have been used up now. So I'm waiting for some more to come. So I thought, while I'm waiting for those to come, I might as well make another video showing what I'm working on at the moment. As the weather's turned bad again, I'm not working on the railway. Now the output transformer, as I say, is underneath, and it all tested out well. It does actually work, but it's not very good. It's very deaf. It does pick up something on all three bands. The best thing it picks up is radio 4 and long wave. That works quite well. Medium wave is very deaf, but I do get a couple of faint stations on there. FM works, the stronger stations do come in, but again, it's very weak on that. And I'm putting it down to those Hunts capacitors, because there's still a lot of those, and they really like to hide away. They're called Hunts because you have to hunt for them. they're always underneath other components, tucked away with loads of resistors on top and goodness knows what. So I mean, that's the basic chassis from the front, and then from the rear, I know this is a mirror image, but basically there's an aerial connection, there's connection for extension speaker, there's also a switch to isolate, or you unscrew it to isolate the internal speaker if you want to just use an external one, and there's an aerial on earth connection on the back. There's also there's an FM dipole built into the cabinet, which plugs into two little terminals here. They just push on. It just plugs on there. So that's that. So the next stage, as I say, will be to replace the remaining Hunt's capacitors and then see if I've still got a problem with it being deaf. I'm hoping it's not a valve, but when I was trying to line it up a little bit, I noticed that this one I could adjust it. This one didn't seem to make much difference, so I think there may be a problem in this area. So I'm going to have to look into that if it's not a capacitor that's causing the problem. And that is basically it at the moment. And I may do some later videos showing how it ends up, hopefully working properly. And I'm going to keep it. It's the same radio that my aunt had many years ago, so I remember it from childhood. So I thought, well, yes, I'll get one of those if I ever see one come up, and that's it. So I hope it's of some interest, and just a little video showing what I'm working on now. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.